My name is Joseph Wyant, and I am a magistrate judge and the drug court judge in Coweta County. My first memory of a movie growing up, it probably wasn't the first movie I ever saw, but the first real memory I have of one is watching Patton with my father. In fact, as I thought about the question, I realized that a lot of my earliest movie memories are intertwined with spending time with my father. My father is still living, he's 93. He was in World War II. And so I grew up in a household where we listened to Tommy Dorsey and a lot of big band music, and we watched a lot of the classics. And so understanding and knowing that he was in World War II, I think that was not something that he talked about a lot, but would talk about if you pressed him. He was a colonel in the Air Force, and he was one of the first people into Dachau after it was liberated. He was at Berchtesgaden in Hitler's home the day the war ended. And so he had an interest, I think, in war films, particularly having to do with World War II. And so he would tell me stories as we were watching this movie about General Patton and how my uncle had worked for General Patton, and about some of the historical elements of the war and how the events being portrayed, the Battle of El Alamein. My dad, he arrived in Egypt about 3 or 4 days after the Battle of El Alamein had ended. And so as Patton passed through Egypt and on through Italy and Germany and France and elsewhere, my father would tell me about certain battles he had participated in and stories about the folks that he had seen. So it was important for me, I think, seeing the movie with him. And George C. Scott, I can't ever see him without thinking that he is Patton. He did such a phenomenal job with the role, and I even when he took on smaller roles later on, like in Firestarter and other things, I still thought that's Patton with a ponytail. So it was important for me in that respect. I think not just for the greatness of the movie, but for the connection with my father. And I think that was true for a lot of the early movies I saw. Whether it be Rocky or The Black Stallion we saw in the theaters, or the Pink Panther movies. We loved watching those things, and we loved watching them together because I loved to see him laugh. I think my sense of humor has developed along similar lines, kind of a dry sense of humor that my dad has, and kind of encouraged, I think, as I grew up. So that's my earliest movie memory. I'm Joe Wyant, and you're watching The Film Fix.